I will entertain a motion. It's been moved by the councilman in the first ward. Is there support? I gotta amend it. I have to amend it. Yes, said it, councilperson. I do have another report. Okay. Supported by the councilwoman in the seventh ward. Okay. I'm gonna say any discussion, but if you don't mind, I will just do this first. I gotta find the right wording. Okay, so we need to amend, because there is an invoice for $29,000 that needs to be paid, as well as what's on the floor. And so this resolution, I'm gonna amend for a total amount of $104,000 and a revised total contract amount of $401,500. Funds will come from the general fund balance line item. And that is my motion. Is there support? It's been moved by councilperson in the fourth ward, supported by councilman in the first ward to amend as stated. I can forward you that email if it's necessary. Is there any discussion?
So, yes,
Go ahead.
Mr. Moore,
Oh, right.
Mr. Moore, you know, I'm gonna ask, why did this audit take almost twice as many hours as it normally should? And the reason the saying is because of the finance department that can't get stuff in a timely manner.
It's true. The reality is when, Paul and I started last fall, and I started September, Paul started October. And when we came in, virtually nothing had been done to prepare for the audit. And so that.
No, I get that, and I'll get past on that. My question is, if we didn't give them information, are we paying them to sit around? So, like, I get it, the audit is taking a certain amount of hours, but how do you have almost 2 times the number of hours to do the same amount of work? I get it, if we're not giving them information, then are we still paying them, like we're not giving them?
Well, it's a lot more complicated than that.
Okay, explain to me.
Okay,
I'm gonna allocate 40 seconds to you on this question because I got votes.
okay. Most of the staff that we inherited are good people, good staff, but they were new to the city and new to their role, which meant that they didn't know how to prepare the schedules that they needed to do. They weren't prepared when we weren't prepared for when the auditors were starting. They were supposed to start in the first part of October. That's just where we started. And so it took us a lot longer to get ready, a lot longer to get the schedules for the auditors. And not all of our first schedule, the first trial were done properly because there's a learning curve to trying to figure out how everything worked, because we had to learn how the system worked, we had to learn how it was done prior years. There was just an awful lot of work for everybody.
So, I get it, I understand that. So in 12 months, we're not gonna see this again, is that? Oh, that's a long pause.
Well, we did have some problems. If you remember, this audit, we were just before the 2030 audit was completed. Just before it was supposed to be completed, we had the ransomware. And we quite literally, when the auditors walked out one day, for the 23 audit, they walked in on the 24 audit before we even had a chance to compare our year end to their year end to make sure that we're 100% agreement. We didn't have, we hadn't had a chance to go through all our files to make sure that we had find out what had been lost during the ransomware and try to recreate it. So there was just a lot of work to get clean up from the ransomware.
Mr. Moore, I'm having days of movie, because I swear that we had this change order last year, and it came before us. And there was an argument about whether it should come out of council budget,
We
which
did.
finances fault. So this is 2 years in a row. Well, we've had warranties.
Point of
This
information, pause this time, pause this time. This is the actual change order we never voted on prior. This is the one that we talked about.
This is for the,
Yeah, we were negotiating the dollar amount, started at 160,000, we got it down to 75.
Okay, so this is the change order.
That we talked about, because the change, the only thing we voted on for a year ago was to do the single audit, which was additional charge. This is the change order that I've been discussing with him for a
So
while.
this has been on the books forever.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, we just got, Mr. Moore, Paul and I met, what was it, a month ago? With Raymond, and discussed it and came to a final number.
Yeah, because I remember this being on the books because they emailed it to somebody and we sat on it, and they didn't get for 2 months. Is that?
This is the same thing.
So can somebody tell me what this $29,000 one is, because it has 0 explanation.
So when it starts back,
Can you explain this 29,000? Because it says for professional services rendering, include final progress of this audit. So the negotiation isn't 75,000, it's 104,000. Because it's covering the same time. So explain that to me. Because 75,000 was the negotiating amount according to the finance chair. If I'm reading this is for the same audit, the same year. It says 100, I mean, between the two is 104,000. So can somebody shed light on that?
what Davina told me is that it's not been paid and not been billed for the 2023 audit, but this is not part of the additional 74. It's just part that never got paid, so this is what she told me to do tonight.
So,
She's at a conference.
can you do and I've asked her this, and I'm gonna ask you again on the record in front of whoever's watching on TV. Where are the check registers? Because the check registers, we should be able to see if we have outstanding balance.
we took down the check registers after the hack, because we're concerned about people using the vendors, because we continue to have problems with people calling and trying to change the ACH numbers of our vendors someplace else.
So if you're not gonna post them online, you can still send them to me, correct?
We can still provide information to the council, because I don't make that call.
So can you send that to me, and then?
Thank you. Go ahead.
Talk to me after.
Councilman Breimer, I did request that, and I did ask this, I had a discussion with you, Mr. Moore, that it be given to each council member, because the check registers have not been on since June of 2002.
Yeah,
And you and I had our
we
conversation,
did.
but as council, we have rights for that. To see that.
Yeah, and our concern has just been that we put up publicly, we have people trying to call up and change the ACH numbers for our vendors.
So he's supposed to get it. I did send an email with the request. I've been sending an email for the request, but really needs to be here to answer that. This is, if she's telling you to do something, she wants it done, she really needs to be here. Cause I don't, yeah, and I can't, I'm gonna go back to, there was some issues about this 29,000. And I can't exactly remember, we got a bunch of stuff here now, but, who negotiated this rate? Was this you? Because,
No, I haven't talked about that.
so who negotiated? Which rate? You said you got the bill down.
$5,000 bill, we got down to 160. We got it down to 160.
Who's the we?
We talked about, we had a conference call with,
Who's all on the conference call?
it was a conference call that I called with the auditors to talk about the 24 audit.
Who was on from the city?
All myself, and Judy.
Okay, but that's,
Judy was just she just stopped by in the middle of our call, so.
but that's not your job to do that.
Right,
To negotiate
the
this deal.
purpose of the call is to talk about the 24 audit.
Yeah, and here's what I'm saying, you have a council member negotiating, that's your job. And I'm seeing too many hands where it should not be. She's not in the administration, she's not a part of the executive branch, she's in the legislative branch. Those are clear lines. She's not.
Excuse me, the council is in charge of the audit. We hire
Doesn't
the auditors.
doesn't mean negotiate.
We,
Don't negotiate.
I can do that because I was working for the council to reduce the fee that we pay, that the council is responsible.
Yeah, that's
Information.
So,
So my request is, if council can't negotiate, why were we trying to negotiate the contract for the senior center some months ago? If we can negotiate, we can.
I'm not here to talk to you. You got some other, I'm not dealing with you. This is not time. We need to warn her, okay? Warn her. So my question is, legislative and executive branch are two different things. We're separate entities. And it's very clear that when we talk about the other finance chair, doesn't mean you go and negotiate and do everything to do your job. And the city clerk's job, those are specifically in our charter specific jobs, specific. And so when we get this, what is the 100, this is, y'all just do what y'all want to do around here. Go ahead.
My assumption was that the responsibility for negotiating for the auditors usually not rests with the finance.
I didn't understand you, Mr. Moore, can you say that again?
My assumption was that you normally don't have the finance team negotiate the contract for the auditors because they're auditing the work that we do. There might be a conflict with that. And you don't want us negotiating because.
Yeah, but the bill was already done, so we're saying you have this bill with a set amount, 100-something thousand, you wanna negotiate, or how can we lower that bill? I mean, I think there has to be clear lines here, and it's not. You know, and you're the CFO, and I like you, Mr. When I like comments too often that we're not getting the answers. Then we're getting that the clerk said, this is what she said, hey, she's not here. No one has the right to speak with the clerk. You know, and I'm not comfortable with that. I mean, if she's not here to say it, you don't say, no one can speak to her. That's her title, that's her job description. Just like it's yours. There's clear lines for that. I give it the floor, I'm done.
Any other discussion in the first round? Any other discussion in the first round? I'm gonna take a few minutes because I'm going to be hit on a podcast for negotiated contract. That is part of my responsibilities. It is not the administration's responsibility to negotiate a contract that is, or that the council oversees. It is not the clerk's responsibility to negotiate a contract. I didn't negotiate a contract. I negotiated a reduction in a fee because it was very high for that year. And we got it down to $80,000 plus. So, also as part of that conversation, it was where are we at in the audit for 2024? And ransomware put us behind because they were walking in to do the audit and we couldn't get into our systems. And so they had to reschedule us and they had to bid us back in again. So again, we've got another issue for next year. We're going to have to bid out the service for the 2026 audit. So this was my job, to help to get the cost down as finance chair. That was my role, and that's what I did. And so that's what the $75,000 is. And I'm done with my time. Is there any other discussion in the second round?
Madam,
Go ahead.
so I just want to say, again, thank you, because our job is to work with the administration on behalf of the people, and also to save, money where we can. So thank you for working with the administration and doing your job as finance chair, to move the people. Thank you.
Anyone else in the second round? Go ahead. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, this is the vote to send 25011, to amend 25011 to 2501111. Ms. Burns?
No.
Ms. Mashat? Mr. Pfeiffer? Mr. Jarrett is absent. Mr. Alabi? Dr. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
No.
The vote is 5 yes, 2 no. The vote is 5 yes, 2 no. I'll now entertain a motion to approve to send 2501111 to council.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
so moved.
It's been moved by Councilwoman in the second ward to, send to council for support. Then supported by Councilman, for support. Go ahead.
It seems like I'm a bit of over this, so I don't answer one from that question. I would be doing questions and
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to send it to special affairs. Is there a second? Support. Okay, this is the vote to send to special affairs. And that motion was made by Councilman in the 8th ward and supported by Councilwoman in the 7th ward. Ms. Mashat? Yes. Mr. Pfeiffer?
yes.
Mr. Jarrett is absent. Mr. Alawi? Ms. Dr. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley? Yes. Ms. Winfrey Carter?
No.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
6 yes, 1 no. The vote is 6 yes, 1 no, that will be sent to special affairs. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilman